2, 3 Personen. Ja. So, is everybody ready?
Hello everyone, and thank you for waiting for so long. We will now start the doorstep of Mr. Weber, and then we will take a few questions.
So, after a very intensive afternoon and not easy discussion inside of the EPP party family, we came to clear and constructive results. First of all, we clarified that the whole debate which we had today in the Political Assembly has nothing to do with our program, its own content, because there were at the beginning discussions whether there will be any kind of judgment on migration policy or on Christian values. That is not the case. The EPP family has a clear idea how to solve the migration challenge with strict border control, but also with a humanitarian face of this European continent. First important message that, again, there was no debate about content. The second point is that the EPP decided today to suspend the membership of Fidesz inside of the EPP family. Practically, that means that Fidesz cannot anymore present candidates for free posts in the party. They cannot vote anymore in any kind of EPP assembly, and they are even not anymore allowed to participate in meetings. I give you an example. Tomorrow, when we have our summit as the EPP leaders, Viktor Orban will not anymore be present there. Fidesz will have, in this period of time when we have the suspension on the table, no say anymore for the future of the EPP political approach. This decision is a firm decision, is a clear decision, and it is based on our common ideas on the values of the EPP. The second decision we did today was about the evaluation committee, because it is important to make a follow-up. If we want to build up trust again between Fidesz and the EPP, then it will take a lot of time, and facts are important and actions are important to build up this trust again. That's why I'm very happy that we invited, and they are ready to do so, former top leaders of the EPP to build up an evaluation committee for supervising the process in the next weeks. This committee will be composed by Hans-Gerd Pöttering, former president of the European Parliament. It will be Wolfgang Schüssel from Austria, former chancellor, and it will be Herman van Rompuy, the former council president and prime minister of Belgium. All of them, all the three personalities are well respected, supported inside of the political family, and we are waiting for their final judgment. So the exclusion of Fidesz is not off the table, it is on the table. We have now this period of time where we have suspended the membership of Fidesz, and then we wait for the final judgment of the evaluation committee. It was a difficult discussion, but there was an obvious need to do such a discussion. We did it in a transparent way as EPP, I'm proud of this, and we did it in a democratic way. There was inside of the EPP political assembly a secret ballot on the final proposal I was putting on the table. You will get the text afterwards, and this final formulation was accepted by an overwhelming majority. 194 colleagues were participating, and 190 colleagues were supporting this final resolution text with the content I presented you already a few seconds ago. Now, you can imagine, I'm happy to close this file and give it to Herman van Rompuy, and then we will make the final judgment. And I want to do now my campaign. I want to start to discuss about the future of Europe, and that is what the EPP will do in the upcoming weeks and months.
We would like to take a few questions, please. They use the microphone. Jurek.
Jurek Kuczewicz from the newspaper Le Soir. I'm here. Hello, Mr. Weber. The resolution was adopted overwhelmingly. it means including, and it was obviously negotiated that way, including the Fidesz members. So how do we have to understand the fact that the suspension is simply commonly adopted and decided with Fidesz? It looks like a simple negotiation rather than a decision by the party towards a member.
The last days on the talks were very intensive. We had a very intensive exchange of views about the substance. Also, our discussion today in the Political Assembly was very substantive, so a lot of contributions referred to what creates the EPP anger when we speak about Fidesz and about what is going on in Hungary. And there were also included the questions which were already discussed in September last year when we discussed about the Article 7 procedure, where the EPP gave finally the green light for the two-thirds majority for opening the Article 7 procedure on a European level. That was a very serious discussion, and I must tell you that it was until the end, not clear whether we can find a common understanding on this, but the message was clear. There were no further negotiations were possible. It was finally a firm decision of the EPP party to make clear that our future is based on common values.
The question here.
Manfred Weber, Gavin Lee, the BBC. Gavin Lee, the BBC. Two thoughts as a result of this. If Viktor Orban, as his party have said, if they leave if they're suspended, they say they will leave, and therefore, first of all, tell me about your concerns of the risk of setting up a stronger Eurosceptic party, and also your own personal ambitions as a potential president of the European Commission, and whether that is dealt a blow too.
First of all, it's great to get from BBC not a Brexit question, to get from BBC another question with other background, and the Fidesz membership is today suspended. That is a decision of today. And you can imagine when we talk about 194, 190 supporting the idea, then it's obvious that we found a good understanding on this. What is it to do? And I also want to underline that with the statements Fidesz gave in the last days, there is, let me say, this signal that they want still to cooperate. I wouldn't call it a proof, I wouldn't call it a big major development, but having in mind that this morning I had again a phone call with President Ignatieff from the Central European University, and having in mind that there is a start of a kind of hope that we can find a solution for the Central European University, that they will continue their work, they can continue their work, then there is a hope, let me say, for the future. Again, clear decision, suspension. Again, evaluation committee, and then we will finally judge and finally decide. And the second question about my plan for the Commission President office, I was putting already a few days ago a plan on the table that I think we have to upgrade the rule of law mechanism in today's European Union. Our Article 7 question is not sufficient enough to really guarantee that the rule of law is implemented in the European Union of today. And that's why we have to upgrade it, even if possible, with sanctions, to use all the funds of the European Union to force the member states to implement rule of law in today's reality in our societies in the European Union. That is what I want to do, and that is what I presented also a clear commitment towards such a proposal.
Sándor Zsíros from Euronews. Did Mr. Orban promise to change the core of his policies? Was there a debate about this?
Well, it was a frank and honest and also very hard discussion. Very especially those who wrote a letter, the certain parties, but also I would say those who are in between were very clear that EPP is based on common ideas, common values, common ideas for the future. And that's why the message was crystal clear today. And what Viktor Orban has to say, I think you have to ask him directly. I cannot comment on this. But I'm proud that EPP was today very clear, united, to make absolutely for the outside world obvious that the suspension is needed to clarify that Fidesz will not have any say in the future developments of the EPP. That is what we discussed and decided today with an overwhelming majority. And I hope that this has the impact we want to see, that the university can continue, that there will be not again posters, and that is exactly the job now of the evaluation committee to assess this, and we fully trust in Hermann van Rompuy. Thank you so much for this short opportunity. See you. Bye-bye.
Können wir auf Deutsch was machen, Herr Weber? Herr Weber, können wir auf Deutsch kurz?